Hi friends, it's me, the diva of harpy notoriety. It's been a second. It's March. It's March 1st. Um, I don't know. I wanted to chit chat today, not about anything in particular. I've just been thinking thoughts. If you hear noises, it's the middle of the day and people are at my house. Um, I don't know. I've been in a thinking mood. So I've been sitting with my thoughts, fucking thinking them. Um, One thing that I was thinking about was childhood bedrooms and just witnessing your bedroom change throughout your life, but like it's the same, like the shape of the room is the same, and like maybe the walls stayed the same, and like maybe you have the same bed frame, whatever. Like there's certain things that just kind of stay, and then when you finally like move out, it's like very strange. And I don't know, I'm kind of jealous of people who stayed in the same house when they were growing up. Um, I guess because they got to feel that feeling more intensely. And I don't. I moved a few times growing up. Um, and I still kind of miss one house in particular I really miss. And I think about that childhood bedroom a lot because I shared it with my brother. We had the sickest bunk bed. It had wooden stairs. It wasn't a ladder like it usually is. It was stairs. Had wooden stairs. I got the top bunk because I wanted it, and my brother got the bottom because it was darker and he liked that more. But then we would get bored and we'd switch. So every once in a while, I would get the bottom bunk, and I did actually really like the bottom bunk after a while. Um, my throat is sore. I really shouldn't be talking as much as I am, but I'm going to because I want to. Um, And sometimes I think about that bedroom, that bunk bed, and we had like a beanbag in the corner. It was a ladybug beanbag, and I would sit there and read, but I wouldn't really read. I just more be excited that I was in the reading corner than read, and I just sit there and be excited, like too excited to read. So I'd sit there with a book and just be like, hell yeah, I'm in the reading corner. And it was right by a window, and I remember that window. We lived right by a highway. And at night, the cars would pass by and you could see their headlights on the ceiling. Um, and I would just sit there and watch them, and they would kind of lull me to sleep on most nights. Same was in my parents' bedroom. They had the same thing. We had the same, our windows faced the same way. Um, and it was also one of those bedrooms where we had like the glow in the dark stars on the ceiling. So when you turn the lights off, it would glow in the dark. It was very cool. We had a very cool bedroom. But then we moved, and I like still really miss that bedroom. Um, that's to say, like, I've been thinking about kind of the feeling of nostalgia and how that emotion, I don't know if that's an emotion in itself or if it's like in a type of feeling that taps into multiple feelings. And obviously it depends on the memory, what kind of feeling you're feeling. Like if it's a nostalgic memory, sometimes that nostalgia can be happy. Like this one time I remember I was growing up, I was at my babysitter's house, who coincidentally was my best friend's mom. And I remember it was raining, and they lived in this house that was right in front of like an alley, and we would go out in the alley and bring like one was like a pull cart, like a you see those kids in those like little cars, but they have like the handle. One of those, and then like a fake tractor or something. I forget what it was. It was some kind of car, but both had wheels, and there was four of us. So two of us got in the wheelie things, and two of us pushed. The two people who were pushing ended up being me and my brother, and the two people in the car ended up being my friend and her brother. Um, but it was raining like hard. Um, but we wanted to go out in the rain, so we got in these things and we just go around and around in the alley, laughing our asses off at how wet it was and how much fun we were having. And I think about that a lot, and that's a very happy, nostalgic memory. Like I miss them, but that feeling is more happy than anything. But it's interesting how nostalgia works because that's a happy memory, but I miss them. So like there's a sadness tied to it, which I think is so fascinating about nostalgia. Because I think in a way it's a kind of grief. It's like a grief for things that have already happened that you miss, that you don't necessarily want to go back to, or maybe you do. But it's a very specific emotion. And I just think that's fascinating that, our brains are capable of such a complex feeling. But then, like, I'm saying all of this not as I'm thinking it, but this is something I thought before I started recording. But anyway, this train of thought led to grief and what grief is. And people say, like, grief is love with nowhere to go. Which then, if you reverse that, it's love is grief with somewhere to go. And I guess that isn't the case for everybody, but I was thinking about this and I was like, in a way, love and grief are very, very similar. It's just time that changes it. It's very much like, you only grieve something when it's gone. But it's a very similar feeling. It's just, time has passed. So that feeling is still there, but it doesn't know where to go. So reverse, if you're feeling love for something, are you in a sense prematurely grieving their absence? And we can get into time a different time. But if it's the same thing, which then got me to thinking, I reflect a lot. I kind of sit and I just, think my thoughts. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that I tend to grieve a lot. Like I'm constantly grieving, which either means I'm a time traveler or I'm just, I got a lot of love in me, or both. But yeah, grief, love, and nostalgia are all very, very similar emotions that I think are only separated by time. Time and context. Because, I think about people that used to be in my life, and I'm like, I'm nostalgic for the memories that we have. And I think about them, and I'm like, oh, that was such a good time in my life, or that was such a weird time in my life, or that was a really bad time in my life. But it's still surrounded with a lot of feelings of this love that I had for them. that is now more described by the word grief. And it's like, time is a funky thing. Time really changes how we experience the world. Anyway, I'm a big space guy. So, and time is a big thing in space, because obviously it gets fucked up where you go. That's like the worst explanation of like the fourth dimension I've ever done. But I don't know. All of these things tend to intertwine, at least for me, because I got a funny brain up here. But like time, grief, love, nostalgia, space. Space is really just a synonym for time. Also, I'm not high right now. This is just how my brain works. Whenever I go on tangents, I have friends who would be like, "How fucked up are you right now?" And it's like, I'm not. This is just how my brain works. But I don't know. Language is very specific, and I think it's beautiful / alarming / very cool that we've created such words that describe such interesting and unique experiences. And that's kind of why I love being a human being. Is that, this is a very interesting way to experience the world. And I'm just grateful. But anyway, that's what I was thinking about last night into today. Wow. What a time to be alive. Anyway, thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I'm gonna rest my voice. Maybe eat a cough drop. Yeah. Thank you. Love you. See you next time. Bye.